Hi, I'm Gary Jenkins, and welcome to my video on how to paint white and pink roses. On this video, I'm combining just a simple background along with some of my recent backgrounds where I use drippies and all kinds of stuff. So let's get started and let me show you how these two work together. First of all, I want to name off the colors for you. And most of the oils, this is oil paint, most of the paint is called 1980. Let's see if I can get one cleaner label. 1980 oil paint. It's the most reasonable out there and has plenty of pigment in it, so that's what I use. Anyway, let me name off the colors for you, because when I'm doing a video, I cannot always come down to the palette. So here they are. This is zinc, it's titanium white, yellow, what is that? Cad yellow light. And all of these colors I've broken down with white. Okay, very important. Cadmium orange and white, cad red light and white, alizarin crimson broken down with white, and here we have phthalo yellow green, which is great for the leaves, broken down with white. Now we have two blues. We have one cool blue, which is an ultramarine blue, that's cool, and we have turquoise, which is warm, and I'll show you when we get into the video how we use one against the other. Phthalo red rose, beautiful pink. We'll probably find that on some of the petals. Sap green for our darks behind the rose. And very important, this one right here. This is just black and white, but I've made what we call a color string. And as you go along, you mix more white, more white, more white. So we'll be using this value probably right about in here, which is a middle tone coming out to the light. So it's important that you pre-mix it so you're not stopping and having to mix up all your colors. So very important. This is a paper palette which is a neutral gray, which helps you to, if you have a white palette and you're relating your color to white, it'll change when you get up to your canvas. So it's good to have a neutral gray palette to start with. Okay, now again, I cannot always come down to the palette when I'm explaining stuff to you. So here you are, here's my palette. You might want to write these colors down to refer to them. Okie dokie, so let's get started with the painting of our white roses with our pink rose. And, oh, there's some buds in there too. Remember, we're combining the abstract backgrounds I'm doing now with more traditional backgrounds. So we're going to mix the two together and it's a stew. Let's see what we come up with. Now, first of all, let me explain what I'm using up here. The size of this panel is 14 by 18, and I have a tone on here, which is just a flat acrylic gray background, which I used some acrylics, black and white, made of gray, and I use Liquitex Basics. It's the most reasonable priced, and that comes in a nice big tube. So I mixed them together. Now yours could be a little lighter, a little bit darker. Really doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to take some phthalo red rose and white and come up here and just very loosely we're going to find where this really big rose is going to be sitting someplace in here. It's just a rough sketch, and we'll show the inside. Will be right in here someplace. Okay, we're going to have one rose there. Another big pink one coming up here. Coming on down. So we keep it loose and free because nice and flexible, so we can change it if we want. This guy up here, way up here, he's going to be running off the canvas, right off the top. We want to maybe move him over a little more. Don't want to stack one on top of the other. So we're going to maybe that's why we put them in loosey-goosey, so we can change the inside. Yeah, makes sense. All right. Well, there you are. Look, it's 50 years of painting, and that's what I'm left with. Okay, now let's get a little freer here. Now before another thing too, I forgot to tell you, on this background, I have a thin coat of linseed oil, and I put it over the whole thing, which is going to help my paint spread around. This is sap green. Let's take a little black just to darken it up a little. Kind of a crisscross, very ragged. This is unlike the paintings I do that are really abstracty. This one doesn't have a lot of color going on. Who knows what's going to happen? That's the beauty of this kind of painting. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. Yeah, well, crisscross. This is kind of dry. Maybe a little more sap in here. And a little darker. This is very dry. No, when I say dry, I only use turp as a medium. I don't use linseed oil and turp or whatever special concoctions people come up with. I just use turp. I use turp because it dries faster. There's going to be a bud down here someplace. Okie dokie, that's kind of cool. Now I'm going to play around. I'm going to take let's take some of our phthalo yellow, I'm trying to read the palette, phthalo yellow green, and maybe a little yellow. Whoa, whoa. And I'm not going to make leaves now. I'm just playing with color. People want to jump right in with leaves right away, and it's once you put leaves in, you're sort of restricted to what you can do. So if we just put color in, it leaves everything free. We can do whatever we want to. Color comes first. I know. And look at that. Well, I forgot to put my turp out. So I'm going to put a little out in my jar here. And we're going to take our turp and just kind of thin that paint down and let the gray, like a watercolor, let the gray show through. Look at it go. Free and loose, 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 loose. Everybody tightens up. I don't know why you paint so tight. Paint nice and loose and free. Express yourself. Do it to it. Cad red light. Boom. Oh, look at that. I don't want to get too crazy because this is supposed to be a combination of just normal backgrounds with a little bit of my new stuff, so don't want to get too crazy. We're going to start this guy right here. We start inside. I want to take some crimson. Oh, the brush I'm using. Let me tell you what this is. This is made by Princeton Art. Princeton Art. And it's a number. Well, it's called a wash brush, but I don't know why. What size is this? I'm trying to see. Oh, it's a 3/8 inch. 3/8 inch. It's called a wash, but I'm just using it for for painting. Princeton Art Brush Company. Can't read it, it got paint on the handle. I'm going to go right into the middle. Yes, remember I have that linseed on there. See how I can spread that around? And there's a belly where we're going to put this dark right here. Very, very dry. I know. You're going to say, oh, that looks easy. Sure. You will crash and burn when you try. I know. It's the way it is. Let's take some white. Find the belly. Ah, yes. And push that brush around. It's picking up some of that crimson in the middle. Very dry. So you want it to look like we can look right inside that. Oh. You can see it happening. Drawing is so important. Oh boy. Here's more white. Look at that. Look at it happen. See? Petal by petal. Make it happen. Because the linseed's on there, I can spread my paint around. Here's the flat, and watch me come down, turn, and tuck it underneath. And then I'll grab a hold of it and pull it around. And there's a petal there, and another one here. With just the kind of the paint that's left on the brush. There's enough on there. Oh boy. Look at the brush. Can you see it dancing? But when you first start to paint, I know, you're going to go, oh, here's a petal. There's a petal. And it's self-defeating, really, until you learn to do, just kind of indicate. We're painting a feeling of a flower, a feeling of a rose. If you don't get the feeling of the rose, forget it, it won't work. Here we are, just kind of barely hitting it. Hope you can see the brush. Sometimes my hand gets in the way, I know. Look at it go. Can you see it? Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get in there. A little closer for you guys, that's better. Now there's just a little paint left on here, because I want these petals on the bottom to go into shadow. So I don't want to put a lot of paint down. Finger. I want that to kind of blend into the background, which gives you a very soft feel to your flower. Reaching for a little more white. Way up to the top. Ooh. Another petal here. And round the back off. There's just the edge of the brush. A lot of it is just indicating. You see? Can you see? Seeing is so important. I see what you're doing, but I can't do it. Well, if you tell yourself you can't do it, your brain goes, okay, you can't do it then. Say, I can do it. It's going to take practice, I know. But you want to do this stuff. It's going to take practice. Just taking my fingernail, and it's so important to push paint around. I'm going to pick up a little bit lighter right here. You see that brush is barely hitting. Yeah. way, that's really light up there. So if it's going to be that light there, it's going to be light down here. See how I made a separation right there? This is what makes it look full. Like there's lots of petals. But you're really not. You're just sort of indicating. Oh, now here I'm going to take some of that black and white mixture. A little gray tone right there. See that gray tone going in? Gray makes your petals recede and go back. Bring it out more. I'm looking at it to see what it needs. It needs a lot of stuff. Pink, phthalo red rose and pink. Bringing that pink out there. Let's take a look at the painting. If we can get over there. There it is. That's what we're doing. This one's coming out. I see a little pinker. You can see there's more pink in it, but that's okay. That's okay. If it looks a little hard looking, we can always soften it. These edges with your finger. That linseed on there helps to soften these edges. It's a rose. A rose by any other name is still a rose. Shakespeare. Study the old masters. Study Renoir, Monet, all the old boys. Their approach was basically the same. Except they really knew how to play with color. Here's an edge coming down. See how important that edge is? Maybe we'll bring it out more. Yes. Remember that linseed's on there. It's so important to have it there. I painted for years without doing it. Then I started playing around with linseed, and I went, whoa, that's what it needs to make the color flow. I'm going to open up that inside a little. Let's take some cad red light. What's that going to do in here? Can you see that? Can you see that? See, senor. Learning to see is what it's all about, guys. Remember the finger. I'm going to get some more red, maybe a little, oh, look at that red up there. Why not? Yeah, cad red light. Use your finger. Don't use the blender. Use your finger. Your finger works better. Cad red light and orange. Gives a little slightly lighter touch. Yeah, I know. We're in there pretty close. Now, if we get, nobody looks at your paintings that close. So let's back up here. See what we have. Let's compare it to this guy over here. This guy here looks like it's a little harder. This one's softer around this edge, and this one's a little harder. And maybe it's being yanked out this way too much, so we're gonna take our green, gonna cut them back right in there, and we're gonna take our crimson and lay it in for this next flower, and cut this flower back a little. That's better. But the edge is still too hard. That's where your finger comes in. You can't paint the same rose again the same way. Who wants to anyway? So it's the I just tore some paper. I bet that was loud. And let's see. Now I want a feeling of light hitting on the top of this rose. That means I am going to load it up. What you do last, again, is what people see first. I want that light coming in. Get in there and make it happen, even if it's wrong. At least you're making a statement. Yeah. Coming around. Let's get a little more up in here. It's like a lump of clay. I see it needs to be a little rounder right here. Your painting is constantly going through changes. You never really put your paint down and put your petals in and go, oh, well, there it is. It doesn't happen that way. You play with it. You're molding these edges. Now she's getting there. She's starting to get that loving feeling. You still, when you get your painting almost done, you're still going to go back and look at it and see what it needs, what it's missing. Here's some gray going in. I see some of that crimson and white. There's a little touch of it right there. A little more. Sneak up on it. Look at that. Amazing. Look at that. I've been painting for years, and this stuff still amazes me. And when it stops amazing me, it's time to give up. When you stop learning, it's time to give up. When you think you've arrived, it's time to give up. The best part about painting is the learning process. Trying to make each painting better than the last one. Trying to do so well that your paintings are at a gallery and people have to buy it because they love them so much. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like I mentioned on my last video, look at that dark. When I first started approaching galleries with my work, my flowers? And they said, well, they're pretty good, but they're too pretty and not cutting edge enough. Well, like I said before in my other video, I didn't even know what pretty was, and I certainly didn't know what cutting edge was. What's cutting edge? I'm not sure even today if I know what cutting edge means. Somebody help me. I don't want to pick too much out of this. There's a bud. It's not up. I'm going to drop it. There's a bud in here. It's going to be right there, and I'm just going to leave that sit there because that's where the bud's going to go later. I will have a leaf. Maybe another one. Oh, I like that. Crimson. All leaves aren't just green. Yeah. Study leaves. Find some rose leaves. Bring them into your studio or wherever you're painting. Oh, look at that. Can you see that? Can you? Whoop. Am I painting off your screen? I do believe I am. So I just put this guy in. This guy. Stems. I'm going to pick up more crimson. Very dry. And it's a little extra dark way inside. Well, some phthalo red rose and a little white. My hand might be in the way, I'm sorry. Okie dokie. I see a bunch of white. Can you, let me look, see this painting? You see the white down here? Oh boy, a lot of stuff going on. Let's lay that in next. I'm going to take black and white, make a gray, very dry. Oh, I get to loosen up finally. Doing what I love to do. Yeah. Ooh. Cutting edge, okay, there's your cutting edge. Boom. Oh, somebody help me. Very dry. Very dry. Repeating the white down. It's called echoing. We're echoing. We're bouncing our color around. Let's take our finger and get in there. And, oh, here's that abstracty stuff that I love to do. Can you see how it just gives you the impression that there's something going on? But we don't need to spell everything out. Let the people's imagination work. Let them participate in the painting. Yes, yes, there's power in a stroke. There's different kinds of strokes. There's strokes that are lazy. They're lazy. They don't even want to be there. There's strokes that are, they have no direction. They don't know where they're going. Then there's this stroke that's loaded up and it says, I am here and I'm glad to be there. Boom, 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 boom. Cad red light and orange? Yes. Boom. Work it in with finger. Work it in, work it in, work it in. Do something. Be a painter. Be an artist. Yeah. Make it happen. You make it happen. There are no... I hear there are no problems or screw-ups, just happy accidents. Oh yeah, just happy accidents. Talk about brainwashing. Jesus, give me a break. Look at me kind of pulling down. You see how I'm making the effect, but not really. The effect of a reflection. Chirp on the brush. I'm going to just hit this. Well, you know I had to do some spatters. And no, I never used to do this. No, I didn't. Used to play it safe. Well, playing it safe didn't get me into any of the high-end galleries. All the other guys, they were playing around, not playing it safe, doing stuff their work was selling. And I'm going, what am I doing wrong? I tell you what I was doing wrong. I was being boring. I know. Well, you gotta love what I'm doing or hate it, one or the other. I know there's a group out there that goes, oh no, he's okay, but I'm gonna do the other stuff. Oh, look at this going in. You see where this rose butts up against the other one. Notice how I'm going to just, oh, you see how I fuzzed that edge out? I fuzzed that edge out. Can I get in there close? Ah, now you can see. Now you see it happening. Now you see it. I start from the outside and come in. There is a rule of thumb. It can be broken, but if you have an edge that is fuzzed out or blended out, it's opposed by a sharp edge. You never have sharp, sharp or loose, loose, though that can be broken at times. But you see how this works? Sharp, blended. This adds interest to your painting. Look at the, my drippies are down there. Okay, let's see if I can get back in where you can see stuff. Now, I think we're coming along pretty good here for the youngster that I am. Yeah, look at that. See the dark? Does anybody see anymore? Look, can you see just a hint of that red? Complementing colors, red and green. Yowie, yowie. Let's take our alizarin crimson and go right into the middle. Remember, there's linseed on there, and we're going to brush that out. So we've already established the center. Phthalo red, rose, and white. Here we have the side of the brush. They're foreshortened edges. Here we're going to pick a petal out. Stuff happening inside, but it's a little bit darker, so you don't put down as much paint. Another big one here. So you put a stroke in, and then you paint back up into it. You see it happening? I see it. I'm not stupid. You have to paint at least 100 roses. Constantly trying to perfect and get better and better. I used to have a nun in my class when I taught in California. She was a nun at the monastery. She came and took classes. And I was talking about practicing. And she says, yes, Gary, you're right. But there's practice, and then there's perfect practice. And I said, well, sister, what do you mean by that? She says, well, so many people are practicing the same bad thing over and over and over. They keep doing the same thing, hoping for different results, and it doesn't happen. You have to constantly try to be better. I said, sister, that's so true. So the best way to try to be better is try to work, if you can, from photographs. If you have a real flower, it's always nice to work from a real flower. Look at this guy going in. Now, if instead of using a blending brush, use your finger. You see how that blends it beautifully. Here's another petal coming out. Blend it in. Now, everybody's looking for an easy way to do these. Oh, just show me how to stroke it. And what size brush are you using? Oh, I'll buy that brush because I know it'll make me paint a better rose if I buy the right brush. Well, it's important to have the right brush, but it doesn't mean you're going to be a better painter. Look at these petals going in. Very light stroke. You have to practice feeling the brush going across the surface of the canvas. Feel it on there. Now this is sort of a middle tone, and we're going to come up and pick out some, see there? So it looks like, oh look, there's plenty of, there's petals in there. Oh! You notice I work the whole flower over. I don't just stay in one spot. And don't make all the petals the same. You see people doing that easy stuff, easy flowers, that you know who stole stuff from me. And if you watch Netflix, you know who I'm talking about. Every stroke is the same. Every stroke is the same, which makes it easy for folks to grab a hold of a stroke and just keep repeating it over and over. And then you have a facsimile of a rose. It might be crappy, but it kind of looks like a rose. And to a lot of people, that seems to satisfy them. Wrong. Yeah, well, I keep telling you all that my stuff, I think, is probably for 10% of the population out there. That I know when you get older, and I'm old. Hey, I am old. Want me to tell you how old I am? I am 88 years old. 88. Let me repeat that. 88. So don't tell me you're old or you're this or you're that. There's always excuses. Get in there and make it happen. While you're, if you belong to the Art Association and you start doing this stuff and your quality takes a big jump, don't look for friends. Actually, they're going to hate your guts. Believe me. There's a lot of jealousy out there. A lot of jealousy. I remember I was asked to judge an art show, and this was in Nevada. I used to live in Nevada, Carson City, Nevada. And we were going around, and I said, okay, this one is very nice. This should be first place. The lady, the president, was with me, and she says, oh no, you can't do that. She wins, she just keeps winning first place every time. I said, well, honey, she wins first place every time because she's good, and she's better than everybody else, and she deserves to have first place, and that's what she's going to get. Can you believe that? She wanted me to give it to somebody else. And we were walking around, and there was for second place, I was walking around the room, and there was this little painting. It was like an 8x10 landscape. No frame, wasn't even on the wall. It was leaning against the wall, on the floor. I went over, and I picked it up, and I looked at it, and it wasn't the greatest landscape in the world, but it had such truthfulness about it. The trees and the grass and the color, it just oozed light. It oozed light to me. And I said, here's your second place. And again, the president goes, oh no, I said, yes, it is. Well, later on, they were having a reception, and I felt this tap on my shoulder. I turned around, there was nobody there. But then I looked down, and there was this little old lady with silver hair. And she said, Gary, I want to thank you. I said, for what? She said, well, you chose my painting for second place. And I said, honey, you deserve it. I love that landscape. And she says, well, thank you. And she turned around and walked away. Oh, boy. I get tears in my eyes every time I think about it. Anyway, back to the painting. Back here. There's a little stem coming in. Stems are very important. I think this painting is coming right along. Sometimes I do paintings for you and they don't come along. They have a mind of their own. Here's some more leaves going in, just kind of indicating leaves. Going up to the top, red light into the center and out. Remember that linseed's on there. This guy's gonna run right off the canvas. Phthalo red, rose, and white. And again, this guy's way in the back. He's not going to have an awful lot of detail. It's going to just kind of be there. My hand in the way? I hope not. I try to keep it away. Down it comes. Way up to the top. Some of my sketches showing I won't need that, but we'll get rid of it in a minute. Phthalo red, rose, and white again. Trying to indicate this is just mushing it in, mushing it in, mushing it in. But it has the general shape. Then we'll take a little more white. Very dry. Watch, now these petals, they go this way, this way, this way, and this way. So watch the direction. Little light going in. It's very loose, very free. Let's take more of that crimson, little green. I want it very dark in there. Yeah, look at that. Boom, out it comes. A little dark back here. Look at the finger working. Can you work that finger in there? Work it in, work it in. Work it in. Nobody tells you about using your finger because they want to sell you brushes. Or they want to sell you a blending brush. Money, 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 money. Oh, yeah. Another petals. Little blank up in there, so it just needs to be a few little petals brought out. Very subtle. We don't have to detail that guy out as much as these are. So there's less detail, a little more detail, and much more detail. So this having more detail will make that rose come forward. Now we're going to take a little sap green and watch how I put the brush down and wiggle and come to a point. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And that helps to push that flower back. Maybe our ultramarine blue and white. It's a cool color which recedes, and just a hint of some leaves, very loose, just kind of there. Maybe a little more blue. Yeah, I like that. We'll repeat that blue over here. And yeah, da 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 dee. The stems are skinny. I made these leaves. You see, I made these leaves a little lighter than those. But who cares? It looks good. Do it to it. Make it happen. Let's see if we can get a split screen here. You can see what I'm looking at, but I'm putting these in a little bit lighter. Oh, there's some dark ones. Phthalo yellow, phthalo green, and these are dark right up off the canvas. Well, look at there. There's some orbs floating around the back. You know me. I have to have my orbs in there. A lot of people go, what are orbs? There's actually an orb society. That's just energy. Energy that floats around, especially here in Sedona. As soon as you start putting orbs in, the whole painting changes. It takes on more of a spiritual look. Which is all the paintings I'm selling in the gallery. They all have orbs in it. And on First Friday, I get to talk to people and they say, I love those orbs you're putting in. And I go, well, thank you. And this is what's helping sell these paintings. So you can call them circles. I'm tearing off paper. You can call them circles, call them what you want. Doesn't matter to me. But they are orbs. Here's a little red going in. We're getting close to the finish on this guy. You notice it on this particular painting, again, it's a very simple background. I don't have a bunch of ruddies and all that stuff in there. I do have a nice bud hanging around here. I'm going to put our dark in very dry. Cad red light on the top. More red, orange. leave some strokes showing. So it looks like there's petals in there. Yeah. And then there's some greenery, phthalo yellow green and yellow. And then there's a stem, sap green. Comes from way over here. Keep your stems nice and skinny, and up it comes, and it hits right in there. Now, let's put he's kind of floating, isn't he? Probably needs a little dark. Help set him down a little bit. Yeah. And maybe some leaves or something coming off of that. Zowie. I'm getting quiet because I'm just looking at the painting. There's some more buds in here. Bud. Get that, it's in there mainly for color. The fact it's a bud doesn't really matter. There's another one up here. Yes, and we'll get some stems going to that. Yeah, so I like that kind of red over in there. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm looking at the painting and I'm going, okay, are we finished or does it need some more stuff? Well, every painting you do, you always don't want to leave it alone. Let me put my drippy in. You don't have to do this. If you're anti-drippy, it's okay. Maybe a little blue. Oh, look, see color? Color? Can we have blue drippies? Why not? Why not? Why not? You see, the people say, well, what is that? It's nothing. It's just color. So it looks like just junk that's growing, and play around with this. Maybe we'll hit it. You know I have to add a little of this in there. Now you don't have to put that in. If you say, oh, that's too much, that's okay. Maybe we'll just, if it gets to be too much, just hit it. Calm it down a little bit. Maybe we'll get some leaves. Look at that, see? This will help push all that stuff back. I hear you out there. I hear you saying, stop, stop. Enough already. Enough. Well, you might be right. You might be right. So right. They'll take some of that off of there. Okay, so who's perfect? Oh, that's better. Keep telling yourself it's better. Even if it's not. That's better. It is better. Oh, our red. I lost my little red in there. Back to simplicity. So, don't put the other in. That's how you learn. It's good old oil paint. Everything can be fixed. Look at the color does. I'm still looking. All right. I think we probably will just call this one finished before I get in there and screw it all up in front of you guys. Oh, there's that sketch that was in there. Let's get rid of that. Yeah. Okie dokie. All right. Now we're at a bit of an angle here, so that's why everything looks askew. But anyway, there you are. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit the little buttons on the bottom, subscribe buttons, because it helps me to keep on doing all this good stuff for you. I'll be planning another video. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do another egret. The egret painting was very popular out there, so maybe I'll do that, but I'll mix it up. I'll be doing roses and egrets and owls and all kinds of stuff down the line. As long as you guys are out there watching, I will keep producing. Okay, guys, well, thank you. Paint till you drop, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.